Hello, my name is Pavel and I'm going to give you some ideas on how to capture and record video and audio. I will be using two applications, OBS Studio for capturing and recording video and Audacity for recording audio. They are both free and open source applications. The OBS Studio can be downloaded from obsproject.com and it could be used for recording and also for streaming your video. Of course, it will be perfect if you record the whole video at once, but from my experience, it is impossible. So you will have to montage your video from smaller parts. If you record those short clips, leave some time at the beginning and at the end where you're not talking and not presenting. These parts can be used for transitions effects and also for some audio adjustment. Of course, you can cut them during the editing. If you have installed the OBS, let's open it. It opens in such a window. First, let me remark that I am using OBS Studio version 27.2.4, 64-bit for Windows 10, and all examples will be given for this version of program. So, at the beginning, make some settings. To do this, go to File and then to Settings. And in the window that opens, we need to adjust two things. First, the output in the recording group. Here you can see the path where your files will be saved. You may change it if it's not convenient for you. Then you have to decide about the recording quality. I think large file size is enough, but you may experiment with lossless quality. Remember, the higher quality, the larger file you get as a result. Now decide about the recording formats. By default it's MKV, but you may change it to MP4. I will stick to MKV. The reason is that if something's happened during the recording, it is possible to retrieve your recording. This is not possible when you change it to MP4. Of course, after the recording, you may change the format using the OBS. Now, we need to decide how the data will be put in your file. So by software or hardware. If you have a good graphic card, hardware is more recommended. Now go to video. And the base resolution, it should be set for the resolution of your screen. In the output, you should leave the same resolution, but if you want to scale it down, you cannot scale it up. If you want to scale it down, you need to change the method of scaling. I think bicubic should be enough. Now, set the frame per second values for 30 or more and save the settings. Let's start using OBS. Here in the center, we have the recording area. Everything which will be put here will be recorded into your video file. Sometimes this area is called a scene. Why? Because like every movie is made of scenes, our will be too. It will add some dynamics to our videos. So in the scenes window, we have already one scene. We can change the name of it to recognize it later by pressing with the right mouse button and selecting rename. Let's call it camera. And by this plus button, we can add another scene. Let's call it whiteboard. Of course, you may remove a scene with minus button and change the order of scenes with those arrows. Now, let us add a source to each scene. We do it in the sources window, and similarly as in the scenes case, we add the sources by a plus button. Here we have different options, some audio options, display capture, images, video capture devices, and video window for your applications. So let's add a camera. Let's call it my cam. And selecting from the available cameras, we can add, enter a camera to our first scene. Now go to the second scene, and from window capture, press OK and select the whiteboard. Press enter. So we have two scenes, and during the recording, we can switch between them. Let me add one more source to this. We can add existing source. For example, defined previously my cam. So we have a whiteboard and camera. And here, in the same way as in the scene case, we can change the order of sources. Look what happens when camera is below whiteboard. It is invisible. So the order matters. Of course, these eyes could hide for a moment a source from a scene. These can lock, and we cannot change the position of it. Here we have an audio mixer. I will talk later about it. And here we have some scene transitions, because if we switch between scenes, we can have some transition effect. Here we have this fade effect, but we can change it to, for example, slide. Here you may observe how to do it. You may change the direction. Let's accept it with. Now, let us see how the scenes and changing scenes works. So here we have start recording. Let's start it. If you press it, you will have two buttons, stop recording and this pause button. You may pause the recording and renew it later. So let's change scenes. Maybe we could change the effect of transition, hide a whiteboard, a camera, and let us stop recording. You have probably noticed the bad quality at the end of the last scene. It's because I'm using two programs to record and they were recording simultaneously. And now I would like to show the effect of the recording from the previous scene. So here we have this switching scene. Now we have changed the transition effect and we have this swipe. And now we hide the camera from the second scene. Let's go back to sources and add some other sources. For example, if you're using a microphone and you want to have an audio track, it is good to add an audio input capture device. And take from the available devices the one you want to add. Here in the audio mixer, you will see the properties of it. You can adjust the volume of your device, switch it off, switch it on, and so on. Let's add another source, in this case, the image. Select the image. This one is a Biot logo with transparent background. I will add it. Okay, so we have sources and what can be done with these sources. Of course, we can arrange the sources with dragging with mouse. We can resize them. So I can have the project logo. I can change the position of my camera and I can resize it as well. So now the main part of the window is the whiteboard. What else can be done? I can transform the source, for example, rotate it. I can move it. And since this is the recording area, the part of the source which is not in the recording area will not be recording in your video. Remember about this. As for the transformation, here you have the more detailed, precise window to arrange your source. So for example, here at the bottom, you have crop tools and you may crop your video if it's too large. If you are satisfied with the arrangement of our sources, we can add some filters to our sources. There are two kinds of filters, audio filters and some effects that can be added to video. So to add a filter, select a source and by this button, filters, or clicking at the source but by right mouse button, select filters. We add filters with this plus button. Here we have some options. So the expander removes noises like mouse clicking or the sound of the fan of your computer. Noise gate removes any sound which appears during your not speaking time. And this one removes so-called white noise that each device produces. So to add a filter, just select it, do some adjustments, and press close. Now go to video effects. We have the options and what we can do here. Of course, we can add some sharpness to our video. We can also add some masks. This is just a picture, white circle on a black background. If I add it and select white color here, I will get the following result. I may also add some color tables. Lots of them is available in the internet. For example, the grayscale. I want to talk about one more filter, but to do it, I need to remove the filters I added. And also I need to remove the transformations. Now let me extend the camera and let me put it below the whiteboard. Let me extend the whiteboard as well. And now add to the whiteboard the chroma key. Let's press filters. Select the color, choose custom because we need to select a color which is the background of our whiteboard. Then select pick screen color and click on a table. If we make the transparent background, we will receive the following effect. So if we return to whiteboard and we write something, we will have the following effect. So the effect of a light board without a light board. There is much more effects. You can read about them at the OBS project page. They are described here, and this is how to use them. Okay, I think that's all for the start. Just press start recording and have fun. And if you finish your recording, do not forget to remax your recordings if you haven't changed the format of your file from MK file to MP4 file. How to do it? Just press File, select Remax Recordings, choose a recording to be remaxed, and press Remax. Sometimes you have the video without audio track, or you recorded the video with bad audio track and you have to record it again, or sometimes it is easier to record video and audio separately. For recording audio, we can use Audacity. You can download it from www.audacityteam.org. You can also edit some audio tracks with this software. Let's start recording audio. I'm using Audacity version 3.1.3 for Windows 10 64-bit. Look at the interface, very known buttons for playing and recording music, some buttons for tools. Here you have the window when you can set the project rate. 4400 is enough. This is the CD quality. You may increase it, of course, but then the audio file will be larger. Here is the interface between the application and your devices for capturing audio and speakers. In Windows, you may select between these three. Check which works better. Here you set your capturing device. You may select if you want to have mono or stereo. If you have mono recording device and you select stereo, you will have the same on both tracks. Here you select your speakers. Here are the sliders for adjusting volume, and here are some scale which show the loudness of your devices. The work in this application is based on tracks, so let's add a track. Let it be stereo. You may name your track. Okay. With this button you may mute it. When this, you may play it solo if you have more than one track, and here you may minimize it. So let's start recording. Press this button and record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here you have probably seen the green bars moving. Do not allow them to exceed 0, because then you lose some information. You need to adjust the volume of microphone in such a case. And here this blue line indicates how loud the recording was, the maximum point, the peak. In this case it was a little bit below -6 decibels. Here you have a timeline, so click at the timeline. 1, and here 2, 3, 4, 5. What we have recorded. Let's record one more track. 4, 3, 2, 1. So we have two tracks. What we can do with them, we can select both. We have this special tool for selecting all, and we can mix them to one track. I undo this. We can add new track, and using the mouse we can put the second track under the first one. And now if we select all and do this trick with mixing, we can have both tracks playing simultaneously. Let's click on the timeline.
5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We can also split the track into subtracks. Just click in the track and with right click just select split clip, and then you can do what this element what you want. For example, you may select it and delete it by pressing delete. Having the track selected, you may with Ctrl and the scroll of your mouse see more details of your track. You may zoom it in or out. Envelope tool, by selecting the points at the border and adjusting them, you may decide about the volume of your track. This is useful, for example, if you want to have the music in the background and the music is getting quieter when you start talking and you want to have it louder at the beginning. So let's click
4,
and
4,
listen.
5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2.
Let me undo this. Let's select the selection tool, and if you are happy with your track, just export it. You have some formats to export it. Let's take MP3. Decide about quality and save it wherever you want. You may give some details of your track here. I will not do it. These are just the basics, and now let's try applying some effects to our track. There is lots of them. Probably you will not use everything. I want to talk about few. The noise reduction. Probably you have heard when I played the track that there was some noise. It might be white noise from a device or from the fan of your computer or any other noise. And Audacity has a nice tool to remove it. How to use it? Select a part of a track when you are not talking. It might be at the beginning. Select noise reduction and set get noise profile. Now select, by clicking on the head of a track, the whole track and repeat noise reduction. Now if you play the track,
4, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2.
You should not hear the noise. I hope you hear it. Of course, if there is still some noise, you may repeat the procedure. The next thing is the amplification of some parts. Notice that this part of a track, you may select it by clicking and keeping the left mouse button and moving the mouse. Select the region. This part is recorded a bit quieter. You may enhance the volume of it using the effect called amplify. So we have listened this track previously and we know that the peak is at -12 decibels. So we will enhance this part of a track to this level. So select the effect, amplify, and new peak, let's make it -12 a bit. Now press OK. It has been enhanced a bit.
Or 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2.
Such a thing, when you have parts which are a little bit quieter than other, may happen when you montage your video from smaller clips. In this case, you may adjust the volume of the recorded parts in Audacity. You can achieve a similar effect with normalizing the region. Let's select it. Let's make it, for example, 10. This method works slightly different than amplification, and you may choose which gives you the best result. Finally, you may add some correction to basses, trebles, increase some volume or decrease. If you are interested, you may make some other better correction. Information about other effects you may find in the internet, for example in Audacity manual or in the internet YouTube. Thank you for your attention.